Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It is
Well,
morning.
it is morning.
Okay,
It's a great morning as well.
10:30 in the morning.
Yes,
All
yes,
right, all
yes.
right. Well, we are welcome back to Health
Well,
and Relationships with
with
Tisa
Tisa,
and Grant.
got it.
So today, what are we going to talk about today? So first of all, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Yeah, so we have gone through Thanksgiving, and hopefully you guys didn't eat too much. And if you did, hopefully you are doing those things to get those pounds back off. We probably should have went into something about how to eat better during the holidays, but we'll cover that.
We'll cover that.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
We got plenty of time
For Thanksgiving. So hopefully you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. You spent time with your friends and your family. You didn't eat too much, and you had a peaceful holiday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now we're going into Christmas.
That's it.
The Christmas season. And so we want to talk a little bit about the joys and the stresses of Christmas and the holidays in general.
Holidays, and it brings, it's the gift giving season now. We move from, Thanksgiving holiday now directly into the season. We've
Hopefully you were thankful.
And think about this. What happens the day after Thanksgiving? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, small business, money spending, which can lead to stress. We're talking about health, wealth, relationships. We understand that when it comes to money, which is in that wealth category, it can cause some stress. What it's going to affect the health category and affect the relationships. You brought up something that I really, really liked, and you talked about why presence matters more than presence.
Presence. That's like a ding, ding, ding. So did you hear him? We talking presence, like as in gift giving, a present, versus your presence during this season. And so as we talk about stress, I think one of the ways we can counteract stress is really focusing on the reason for the season, especially for Christmas, right? I grew up in a Christian household, and so yes, we celebrated Christmas, and yes, we got gifts, but my parents made us, and it might have been a way to save them money, to focus on the reason for the season.
Love it.
And the reason for the season is about love and joy and really just family.
Yeah.
Without getting into any religious or whatever, although I believe it's the baby Jesus' birthday and the birth of Christ. And so what my parents did, I thought was kind of brilliant in that they made us think as a child would think, right? And so we were asking for presents and blah, blah, blah. My father said one time, remember, it's Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay. And then it's like, well, how would you feel on your birthday if everybody got gifts? And so as a kid, you that puts you in a mindset like, well, no, it's my birthday. I'm the only one to get the gifts. And so that kind of sets us up to realize that Christmas is not a day just for you to get bombarded with gifts. I think they were just setting us up for, this is not just a day for the stores to get rich, for me to go into debt and you get a bunch of gifts, whether you need them or not, just to say, you had a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. So when you focus on the reason for the season, you talk about the birth of Jesus, it changes the tone. It's not about what you're going to get and what you want, deserve it or not. It's about Jesus's birthday and the love that is spread through those seasons. Right. And so we had to go caroling back in the day. Right. So part of our giving for the season was caroling, at old folks' homes.
Right.
And so people don't carol anymore, but that is a peaceful way and a joyful way to give of yourself, give of your presence, being there, singing, going out, taking the time to bring some other people joys. And so I think if we start to focus on the presence, SENCE versus the presence, ENTS, we can de-stress. We can de-stress and refocus, even refocus our kids in terms of this wanting to get gifts, and just making it a commercial holiday.
No, 100% on that. We're losing some of the reason for the season, but it's up to us to really set the precedent. I love how your family did that, and I remember we got to talking right before the show. They said, "Well, what kind of presents did you get as a present in your life?" And I told the story of my grandmother. My grandmother lived in Omaha, Nebraska. She worked at Conestoga School. She went to Bethel AME for a number of different years until she relocated down in Miami. But when she came down, we would have conversations, and she would tell me the stories of what 24th Street, 24th and Lake in that area was like in her day.
Mm-hmm.
This was a heck of a present because I had no idea. Remember, I was born in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
My experience on 24th Street, North 24th Street, was always, it was burnt out buildings. It was just, I didn't realize at the time, but it was post riot.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew a 24th Street that was vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was saying, "Oh, there used to be a movie house over here.
Yeah.
There was a grocery store over here. There was things." So my grandmother really painted the picture
Mm-hmm.
of a vibrant 24th Street. That when they would give presents, they would wrap things up, whatever they had in the house, wrap things up, put it into a box or something
Mm-hmm.
to that effect. This was her thing. She actually got a job. She was so good at creating gift boxes and type of thing, and being able to wrap things with ribbons. That she got a job downtown at one of the stores down there.
Oh yeah, Brandeis used to wrap gifts back in the day.
Wow, she was wonderful. So the story around that is that the present that I got from her is what I'm sharing with you right now.
So the present of storytelling.
Yes.
Storytelling, and that's being present.
Yes.
You spent that means you spent time with her. You listened to her. Nothing tangible was exchanged, right?
No.
And you remember these stories now in your 60s. And so being present, I think, is the best present you can give, because you can, this is something you can still pass on now,
Sure.
right? You can pass
Absolutely.
on to that kid, that to your kids, and making memories, right? I think one of the ways we can de-stress is just learn to just make memories during the season, not buying anything, just making a memory, going downtown and seeing the lights, driving through. We used to drive through towns into all the rich neighborhoods and see what lights they put up and things like that. Making memories, I think, are the best presents,
Yep.
The most joyful presents, the most lasting presents, because you remember this years and years.
Years and years.
And lasting presents. Some of that stuff you get your kids, you already know. You'll have it. They'll have it. They'll pay for it the first day, maybe 2 days.
Right, by the time they go back to school, remember to get the long Christmas break.
Man, it's in a toy box. They don't even know where it is. I mean, so when you think about the times that we're living in, times is hard, and we're in an economy that, just don't waste the money.
Exactly.
Focus on. I think the way we can de-stress is not stressing out, buying those iPhones, PlayStations. Not that they don't deserve those things, but if those things are going to cause you stress and going to put you in debts, then maybe those things you can avoid and really start changing the mindsets of yourself and the kids to focus on the reason for the season, not just getting a bunch of gifts that they don't need, they're not going to play with, or they're going to, put aside after a month or two. Because that's a waste of money. And you see it time and time again. Little kids that are like 1 year old, they like to play with the box.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Need box. Yeah. Play with the box.
So I think one way we can de-stress is focus on the presence, being present, spreading the joy and the love of the season, and making memories with your family.
Here's some things that people don't realize. And this is on a national basis. And that is that gifts don't fix relationships. Presence does. These are statistically true. So if you think I'm going to give this, I don't remember this. I remember this to this day. I was a security guy at one point in time. I was living in New England, and I worked in a jewelry store, right? It was a very expensive jewelry store. I remember this gentleman, he came in and he was buying his wife this super expensive diamond ring. And I remember his words, well, if this doesn't fix our relationship, I guess it's going to go to divorce. I'm like, so this is your solution? Is I'm going to give her the super expensive gift. It might work for a little bit, but the true causes of what was really happening, maybe that's not going to do it. So you have to start thinking about presence when it comes about who showed up, who listened, right? Who held space, meaning, like I'll talk about the story about my grandmother, she held space in my memory, space in my soul, for the most part, right? And who made time, not what was just in the gift bag. So if you just give an empty present,
Mm-hmm.
expensive
Mm-hmm.
diamond ring, but there's no presence in it, there's no love
Mm-hmm.
in it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's an empty feeling, is basically what you have gifted that person with.
Yeah, yeah. I think presents are just overkill right now. I think giving gifts are overkill. Um, everybody's not able, and I think it just puts more pressures on those families who are still struggling to come up with gifts that they can't even afford.
Right.
So again, I think if everybody just takes a different tone. And these stores are going to still be rich. They're still going to make their quotas. Target is still going to throw those sales. But those presents, what we're doing is making the retailers richer and making us poorer, and we're not giving really an important gift, which I think is your time, your energy, and your talents.
I think what you're talking about is what is the story behind it.
Hmm.
If you can give gifts, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you can connect it with a strong story, I remember a lot of gifts I got when we were little, me and my brother, right? Now I'll tell you some of the gifts I really liked. Right, one of them was a chemistry set that my mom had bought me, and my mom and dad, they got me a chemistry set, and it really set the tone for me to be curious, to experiment, to actually expand my mind about certain things. That was just a great present, and I really appreciate that. I remember getting an encyclopedia. Me and my brother was there. He's got a bunch of books. Like today, like, here's a bunch of books. He'd be like, what's a bunch of books?
Oh, everybody wanted encyclopedias when we were younger.
And we had a little cycle.
That was our Google.
Right? It was our Google. I mean, you learned things. We had Christmas break. It was a long time. It's cold outside. But
they came with 3D pictures. Y'all remember encyclopedias? They came with the film where you can see the inside of the body, and you turn the page, you can see the guts, and then you can turn the page, you see the bones. Y'all know nothing about encyclopedias, but encyclopedias was our way of looking up anything.
Yeah, you can look up. It was the internet.
It was the internet.
You could see Google. Everything. You learned, but I liked it because I had a choice. I could learn about that. I wasn't. No teacher was saying, "Hey, you need to learn this and take this lesson and be a test."
Yeah.
I just liked the ability to do that. So it was the gift of knowledge that I got, the gift of curiosity. So when I started thinking about some of the gifts that I got, and I don't know how much they cost. I really don't. But I know the impact that it had. So think about when you're doing your gift giving. Give what you can afford to give, obviously, but make sure it has some impact, that it deepens the relationship that you have, that can be even long term as you go forward. That you can keep.
Why don't we give a gift of a game?
I love it.
Like back in the day, again. So I mean, because, we grew up at a good time. We grew up at a time where we played games, and people are getting back into board games. Hallelujah! Yeah. But board games, first of all, brings people together, right? It sets you down at a table. At the same table where you can talk to people, but you also are interacting. You're throwing dice, you're moving parts, you're literally this far away from each other. It's an interaction, it's joy, it's funniness going on. A game is just the best gifts, one of the best gifts you can give to your family. Something that you can do together, right? That won't last and you can't eat up or whatever, but you can pull out anytime and say, you know what, we haven't had a sit down family time. Let's play a game. So get back to game giving. People are getting back to games, board games. People are having board game parties these days. And that's because it brings you together in a joyful way. It makes you spend time. It makes you be present in the situation. And it builds those memories, right? Because you are going to remember a game night that we had with the other couple and so-and-so won, or spades game that so-and-so kept winning, because I don't know nothing about spades. But you'll remember those things versus giving your kid an iPhone and then they go into their room and they don't even talk to you no more.
What did I get for a gift last year that I remember? I'm like, I don't remember it. I know it was probably some retail stuff. Not saying it was wrong to gift. It was a great gift, but I don't remember it exactly because it wasn't as memorable going forward that I would utilize. So we got to start thinking about utilization of a gift. What do I truly need? The gift of a good coat might be nice right now in Nebraska. Like, I need socks. I need more, gloves. I need some boots and those things. If you're thinking about it, I'm just saying. But try to give a gift that actually has some impact. But again, doesn't put you in debt, right? I remember my grandmother. I could count on this every year. I knew I was going to get me some underwear. I was going to get some T-shirts. I was going to get some
our grandparents didn't go into debt.
And I said, I love this.
And even my parents, they, you get. I think time has gone on where there's again more electronics and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Those things are inexpensive, right? So
Mm.
we had little gifts. We had board games and
Yeah.
cheap stuff. You can go to the dollar store and get our kind of gifts, checker games and
Yeah.
stuff like that. These kids, the stuff that they want are expensive. That will put you into debt. That will get you stressed because you can't afford it. And you want kids to all kind of have the same thing. You don't want your kid to be lacking or whatever. But again, for your own peace and stress, try to refocus the whole perception of the season and focus on the reason.
And budget. If you know there's something that your child needs,
if you gotta have it,
then you start thinking about it 6 months. Christmas comes the same time every year. It's not like a surprise, right? You know it's coming. So you're like, all right, I need to get, either my child, my grandchild, wherever it may be, that if it's expensive. When I say expensive, it's more than what you can afford. If you've got to use some
credit card,
something like that to buy
take out a loan,
whatever it may be. So you need to be thinking about this way ahead of time. Because they need it. I don't think you always need the latest cell phone, like to do what?
And so that makes me think about need versus want. Because a cell phone is not a need for any child. I don't care how y'all ain't gonna convince me that your 12-year-old needs a phone. That's what you need to bring up stats on. Like if you're talking about gifts and we're talking about changing the focus, let's really look at if this isn't even a good gift for your child. Right. They want a whole bunch of that ain't good for them. They want everything. And so as a parent, you got to start realizing and thinking about, they want that, but is that something good for them? Mm-hmm. Do they need that gift at this time? Yeah. That kind of thing. Because I think some of our parents, younger parents, I'm going to say, give in to whatever the child wants, whether they are old enough to have it, whether they need it, whatever the child wants. But and a lot of parents are buying their kids. They buy what they want to buy their kids. And so if you again refocus on the reason for the season, you actually build relationships. When you're focusing on the reason for the season, you're teaching your kids how to be community connected and doing stuff outside themselves instead of gimme. If you focus on the reason for the season, you teach kids how to find joy in not things, but in acts and service. So focusing on the reason for the season just changes the whole trajectory of it. And then they might not even want those things. They might just surprise you and say, I'm just going to go give to somebody or go give all of my gifts to the orphans or to some kids that don't have it, or I want to sponsor a family because we have everything we need, but I know that family probably don't. They got a lot of kids. I want to give my choice. You teach your kids a whole different way of gift giving and bringing joy if you focus on the reason for the season.
I love that. It's about giving love.
Yeah.
That is you see the hearts, you see
the
spreading
love. Christmas is about love. Christ is about
love.
Yeah.
And we
and
want
joy.
You don't want it to be performative.
No.
Right? So how do you truly gift someone with love? We talked about presence. I love that, presence.
Being present. Give them your presence.
And to your point, I remember this. Another great memory I have, growing up, with me and my brother and my mother. I remember she gave us a Monopoly board, right? We got Monopoly board for Christmas one year. And we couldn't wait because the cool factor about it was she played with us. Sometimes you get toys.
That's time. That's the time we're talking about. A board game. Nothing brings you together more than a board game. Yeah. And Monopoly, trust is still being paid. They done got 100 billion versions of Monopoly. Yeah. Pick it up if you never played Monopoly, shame on you. And if you never played with your family, shame on you. Yeah. Because those are those things. Because Monopoly in itself teaches you about money management, teach you about buying houses, it teach you about saving, it teach you about money's involved. And so property's involved. And so it's one of those games that kind of like life. It kind of gets you ready for life. It's a great game.
I understood more about life. There was another game called Life as well, about paying bills, things like that. My mother would play with us, but she would also inject reality into it. So when I start thinking about the gifts that really I remember that has a lasting impact, it wasn't just about, a couple months and then boom, we moved on. Monopoly kind of stayed in there. We would play people in the neighborhood.
And Monopoly took for hours.
It did.
You can't do Monopoly in no 20 minutes. Monopoly Monopoly is one of those games that like 5 people. Yeah, you can stop and come back. And because you have to run out of money, right? The whole goal is to be broke
you have to bankrupt everybody.
Kid a Monopoly game. I'm just saying, it just teaches you a whole bunch, and it's shared time and it's family experience. And I guarantee you, your family and your kids will remember playing Monopoly at Christmas time and playing board games and any gift that you might give them monetarily.
100%. And I think about even my kids' generation, the things that I gifted them with, and I did give them a lot of the electronic games. Mm-hmm. But when I think about it, I really didn't. I'm not a game person, so I didn't sit down there and play the video game with them. I gave them the game. They're out there, they're playing the video game, and I wasn't really involved in that. Like I wish I could have been. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't like. And so when I go back, I have skipped a couple of generations, or even like the stories that I'm bringing. So I want to bring that up because I think there's some missteps that I probably could have done better as I thought about it. Because what children really like is when you give them attention.
Mm-hmm. And spend time with them.
Attention. Spend time with them. They really, really
more than anything, for real, y'all. Anything that you can give them is your presence.
Mm-hmm.
Ding, 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 ding. Your presence, your being there, the time, like you said, spending time with them, taking them to do stuff, showing them, sharing stories, sharing a part of you, sharing what you did as a kid. That's the stuff you remember. That's just plain and simple. And that toy that you got, whatever that was, that Chimmy Choo Choo or whatever we got back in the day, that's gone and broke, right? But the presence, the things that you've given them of your time, your energy, and your joy, and sharing that stuff, that's what sticks with you. And so I would say, if you want to de-stress this season, focus on your presence, and not the presents that you give. And
that it's the money and energy. And I remember that is
so profound. Can I say that again?
Yes.
Focus on your presence in your children's lives, in their the memories. Focus on your presence in those things and not the monetary presence.
And if we can do that, because I remember lots of times that I went out and I bought something that was expensive, and it was probably more than I needed to do. And to that point where I talked about that gentleman that went out and bought the diamond ring for his probably divorced wife now,
right,
is that it didn't have the effect that was going to have. I spent all this money and they play with it for me a day or two, and then all of a sudden I see them playing with the $3 toy, and I'm like, well, what?
That's it. So think about that. That happens more often. It really does happen more often. So de-stress this. I will say de-stress this season. Focus on the reason for the season, your presence, not your present that you give them. And then after Christmas, focus on Kwanzaa. Yeah. So Christmas is coming. Focus on Kwanzaa, and we'll talk more about Kwanzaa in our next session.
Yes.
It's still the season, but it's a season that I would love to bring more people into in terms of yourself, your community, and your family.
I want to say one more thing before I let you. We're going to wrap up, but not right this second.
Oh, okay.
I want to bring this up because I think it's important to understand that love is medicine.
Yeah.
Health, wealth, relationship. But love is medicine. This is the time to share our love. And it will heal the people that you most care about.
Absolutely.
The gift of love.
The gift of love. As we talk about being depressed during this season, go visit some older person that doesn't get visited often. Give them that gift of presence, but love, that just shows you that you didn't forget about them. People forget about the older people and elderly. Make sure you invite them and go get them, because a lot of them don't have transportation. But stop by and visit. The best piece of love that you can give an older person is time, your presence, and just spending time with them. That's listening. They love to talk, right? They want to tell them stories.
They have fantastic stories.
And it fills your soul. If you listen to some other person and just see them light up, and they're teaching you some things. First of all, you learn some things by listening to older people. They have a lot to give in terms of their experience and their time here on this earth. And so, like you said, spread the love.
My youngest son, one thing I always remember this. So we talk about, a lot of times we take our kids, to church and that type of thing. And they sometimes they don't want to go. They're like, oh my God, I gotta go to church. This is so boring. And he told me, he said, the one thing I remember going to church with grandma. This is my grandmother. This is his great grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the only time in my life I actually felt something spiritual.
Mm.
That it really touched him as and this is something he shared years later. It wasn't like that day, but he shared like and he said he got so full of love that he would always sit with her, and she would talk to him and tell her, because she had stories, characters.
Mm-hmm.
These characters, these are real actual people. Yeah, but she would share because he would listen, right? Mm-hmm. But this is what he would remember, especially around Christmas time, Thanksgiving time. And he would come home from school and she would sit with him, for after school before I would get there and take him home. So she'd get an hour with him pretty much every day. She taught him how to do cursive. Mm-hmm. We don't teach our kids cursive anymore in school, which I don't want to get into that. But those kinds of things that you don't know that is a gift of love that's being handed down, and you don't even know what happened unless they talk to you and tell you these things. I remember telling things with my mother's like, you remember that? I'm like, no, because you don't really know what touches another person. So share and tell stories this time of year with each other. And I guarantee you, and I want to bring up one other thing with Tisa brought up, because this happened. I was, I did a lot in healthcare, and I remember going to an assisted living facility, and we were working with them about something around technology. But I saw the patients that were there, people that were there, and it was probably one of the most loneliest things I've ever seen in my life. They were just in there, kind of packed in, just looking around, and I was like, wow, we need more joy in this world. So think about kids, bring them through singing, caroling, to your point, and doing something like, wow, I remember that, and just bringing some joy to people that really don't have it this time of year, because a lot of the people that they've known, they've moved on.
Caroling was big, and people still carol.
Yeah.
But we need to get back to stuff like that. Just carol. And people do go into, and I give kudos to the people who do take time and perform for older people, because they're just not getting out. So you got to go to them. So spread some love, share your talents. If you can sing, if you can dance, if you can play the piano, go spread that talent and that joy to someone else.
And I'm gonna give one more shout out to the Empowerment Network for what they're doing down there on 24th and Lake and Dreamland. They just had their Christmas parade and things of that nature.
Christmas in the Village.
They sure did. And see, this is something I had not lived in Omaha area for like 30 some odd years. I definitely didn't come down when it was cold, right? But I hadn't seen that. And I was like, see, these are the kind of stories we might, people that live here is like, oh yeah, I'm glad they're doing that. This is the kind of thing that will be sticky. It's going to be memorable, and it's going to make our next generation of children really appreciate this time of year.
So if you missed Christmas in the Village from the Empowerment Network, you missed it. They have it every year around this time. But start looking through the community and finding out those other things that our community is doing that are spreading joy and that are bringing the community together, and just having an old-fashioned time, using your presence and your talents together, and spending time in community.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, this has been a great show, Tisa. I really want to appreciate you.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Go spread some joy and spread some love.
Spread some joy, spread some love. Make sure you come back and visit us next week. We got a special Christmas show.
And remember the reason for the season.
Yes.